We all wanted a break from the gore and violence of the action genre, but this amount of romantic puglu brain rot is not something that I signed up for. I'm all for movies that make me escape the cynicism in me, make me hope for romance in my life where I'm swept off my feet. Something that makes me delete the dating apps and hope and pray that destiny will, in some shape or form, work its magic and on a train ride or a next flight, I am seated next to a girl of my dreams. But even when I put this optimist hat on while stepping in for Aankhon ki Gustaakhiyan, slowly and steadily, I resorted to the fact कि मुझे रोमांस चलेगा पर इतना डिल्यूजन कभी हजम नहीं होगा. आंखों की गुस्ताखियां, डायरेक्टेड बाय संतोष सिंह एंड रिटन बाय मानसी बगला, is based on a short story written by Ruskin Bond titled The Eyes Have It. The original story was restricted to a train ride where a blind man conceals his disability and strikes a conversation with a woman, only to realize after she deboards the train that she was blind too. The film, however, expands on the idea of what transpires after the train ride, following the lives of Jahan and Saba, played by Vikrant, Massey and Shanaya Kapoor respectively. Jahan is a blind musician who is going through a creative block and is going to Mussoorie for some inspiration and so that he can finally put pen on paper again. Saba is a theatre artist, so dedicated to the craft and so method in her process that she has stepped inside a train blindfolded and is determined to keep her blindfold on for the majority of her trip in Mussoorie in preparation for an audition for a feature film. Such is the dedication. How their paths collide on the train journey, how they end up spending time in Mussoorie, what causes a rift between them, and what transpires when they reunite in Europe forms the basic premise of Aankhon ki Gustaakhiyan. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch the movie in theaters or not. The good. The music. The silver lining, the aspect of the film that actually made me coast through this movie, bear the stupid decisions made by the characters, and not go through a splitting headache, was the melodious music of this film. The album has been composed by Vishal Mishra, and he is one of my favorite vocalists in Hindi cinema, who generally does not get enough love, in my opinion. He has the aching, raspy quality in his voice that just seems fit for romantic numbers, especially if dard is associated with it. The dancing around is quite unintentionally funny, but a heartfelt track indeed. An extension of the beautiful album is Jubin Nautiyal's vocals for the title track and Alvida, sung again by Vishal. I genuinely feel like Vishal Mishra is hard done by a rather poor film because he adds soul to a film that tests your patience. This album, in another storyline, could have been the magic romantic collaboration we all wished for. The underwhelming aspects. Comedic elements. The funniest and most infuriating quality about the film and its writing is that it gives off the impression that it is far more poetic and funny than it actually is. Characters laugh at the most lame PJs and Vikrant Massey throws such pseudo-intellectual jargon that you often get the energy that this film is like a try-hard, wanting to emulate the magic of romantic films versus catering to the characters in its universe, almost in a desperate need to impress the audience versus exploring its own world. The film integrates these random comedic elements that generates mostly crickets in the theatre. There is an element of the Mussoorie hotel being haunted, there is a talking bird and an irritating caretaker who cracks one bad joke after the other, and the worst of all, both the characters tripping in one scene where the filmmaker partly makes this movie an acid trip, taking you completely away from the point of conflict, making the film and its tonality a khichdi versus a focused romantic drama or comedy. This headless chicken-like state especially takes its final form in the second half of the film, where mindless sequences after the other follow and characters take one stupid decision after the other. Borrowing tropes. The biggest problem is that the film does not have its own unique identity. The film, genuinely from its writing point of view and the way it develops, its plot seems to have taken the famous tropes of classic romantic films and just integrated them here, hoping and praying that just something sticks. It has the train ride and how strangers grow to like one another from Jab We Met. It has the undercurrent of tension when ex-lovers unite with each other like in Tamasha. It has the same screaming trope of romantic partners shouting out all of their insecurities and traumas into the void. You have literally the same color scheme of Emma Stone stepping into Sebs from La La Land right here, having the same rush of emotions, dreading but eager to get a glimpse of her ex. You've got the same pier-like structure as Sebastian Sang's City of Stars. Its borrowed tropes are endless, and the problem is that the film does not really excel in any of them. At least Jab We Met made sense of why these two worlds collide, of a woman in a dire situation aligning with someone who seems to be a kind soul. At least Tamasha made the undercurrent of tension palpable as two souls reunite, enhanced by the writing and brilliant actors sharing such magnetic chemistry together. The sinking feeling of Emma was felt by everyone, but it was because we went on a sweeping emotional journey with the two characters, and not with half-baked emotions, like every step of this film. Stupid characters. I think one of the main reasons why the viewers will feel disconnected to this film is because of the decisions the characters make. Naive is one thing, but plain stupid is another. And Sabah, from the first scene till the last scene, makes such reckless decisions. I kid you not, she is lucky that she is alive in the first place. Playing Daniel Day-Lewis's long-lost daughter, the girl is so method in her ways, so determined in cracking this acting job of a blind girl, that she has absolutely zero things planned when she boards the train. She starts the conversation by saying that she can't accept things being offered by strangers in the train when Vikrant offers her a chai, but the same day ends up sharing a room and a bed with that same person, with the naive belief that nothing will go wrong. You would think that Sabah is the problem? Oh boy. Because Vikrant is equally, if not more frustrating in this film. The entire spiel of this film is to talk about the lack of inclusivity with people who are differently abled. Vikrant with his disability says, "Use daya nahi, dignity chahiye." But it makes Vikrant a character with such debilitating self-pity that he ends up being an absolute to Sabah, with the consistent "it's not you, it's me" BS. By the second half of the film, you wonder why Sabah is still obsessed with the idea of Jahan, because I don't see any other explanation other than him being good in the sack. What's crazy is that this film actually transforms into becoming a tale about a whipped girl and a heartless blind man. You as a viewer hoping and praying that she gets her act together and learns. But as I previously said, toxic love pagloos ko kya hi samjhana? I kid you not, till the last frame, you will roll your eyes in the stupid decisions the characters are making. The curious case of the cast. Shanaya Kapoor in her debut role as Sabah is honestly passable at best. She has a tendency to shake her head a lot in each scene. Happiness or sadness, it doesn't matter. She is consistently shaking her head, and while her diction and even expressions are better than most Nepo babies, the bar is extremely low. It doesn't help that the material equally sucks, so even her efforts go in vain. I was the most surprised by Vikrant because this is a film and a role where he is just coasting through. There isn't a lot of effort and there isn't anything impactful too. I quickly realized that it's because his character is also unlikable. Even sensitive moments with him get on your nerves because he is doing nothing but breaking Sabah's heart with his decisions, all stemming from the sorry image of self he is dealing with. I felt absolutely nothing with respect to their chemistry. It's rather awkward, and you know what's crazy? When they unite in Europe and it's described that Sabah is this killer theatre actress, now she is getting standing ovations from audiences, you never see her act on stage, ever. All she does is do random ballet and jazz poses, and you are to assume that she is going to win a Tony Award one day. You know what's even crazier? The best performance in this film is by someone no one is talking about. Zain Khan Durrani plays the role of Abhinav, Sabah's love interest in Europe, and he is absolutely charming and convincing in his role. He is the voice of reason in a world where everyone is bad crazy, and he gave me hope that some level-headed folk also exist in this world, giving full Aman energy from Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. If you want to see Zain be his charming best in a film, you should see him in Onir's film Kuch Bhige Alfaz. You'll really wonder why he hasn't got more opportunities. Honestly, by the end of it all, Aankhon ki Gustaakhiyan becomes painful to sit through. I am all for romance and lack of logic, but when both characters in a romantic relationship end up being so indecisive and frustrating, it's tough to root for any reunion, making Shanaya's much anticipated debut quite anticlimactic, honestly. In a scene in the film as Sabah communicates with her theatre artist father about auditioning for Bollywood, the father exclaims, "Delhi में थिएटर छोड़ के बॉलीवुड क्यों जा रहे हो? टैलेंट की तो वहाँ कोई कदर ही नहीं करता."